the game, because they're going to change their game plan. Maybe not at this level, but definitely. Look who's here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Good. Kaylan, good to have you on the show.
Hey, Kaylan.
No, thanks for reaching out and having me on.
This is look at Saskia. You're in an
I don't
undisclosed location.
I am. You're such a jerk.
Boy. That's such a. It's a long story.
I'm in like witness protection right now or something.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, if you're just joining in right now, we're going to start in a few minutes right now. We have the one and only Kaylan Marckese from Arsenal Football Club.
Nice.
Crazy to say that, isn't it?
Right?
It's good to hear, honestly. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I'm sure, and we'll talk about this when the show starts. I'm sure, like, from a social media standpoint, that sure did not hurt your brand by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh my gosh, it was like the moment I was announced, right? They sent a message, "Hey, we're going live with, the post in like an hour," because it was such a quiet transfer. Nobody knew. And so they're really excited about it. I was like, all right, cool. Like an hour, sure, I'll post something too. And my phone did not stop buzzing for 2 days.
I bet.
I had never experienced anything like it. And I just credit to the girls that are such personalities and big faces on the team and teams of like it. It was an amazing response, but I was like, I've got to turn my phone off. I can't hear the buzz on my, and I was staying in a hotel at a time. I was like, this buzz on this like laminate countertop. I was like, can't do this anymore. I appreciate all the messages, all the likes. I cannot do it. I'm not equipped for this. I'll come back in 2 days and give all my responses and thank yous. And it was overwhelming, but it still is. I mentioned it today. I was like, it was a beautiful day during training. I got to put my gloves on, got to put my boots on a crazy good, insane pitch, and I got to wear an Arsenal badge. Like,
that's amazing.
My life. Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about this when the show starts, but Saskia always talks about the fact that if there had been the WSL back in her days, Manchester United, she would have been knocking on their door.
You'd have been at United.
Yeah. I ran out like after the WSA closed down, and mom's like, get your Dutch citizenship and your passport, and for some weird reason I fell under some, like, if your daughter and your mother has her green card, like I could get it, and like $25 later at the Dutch embassy I was like a Dutch citizen, and I'm like, maybe I'll go play in Europe, but it was like, where?
Yeah.
It was like, where? Now it was like, where now couldn't I play?
Yeah.
It's incredible. It really is.
Dutch citizenship. That's awesome. I've had a couple of questions, but I'm American through and through.
Oh God, no. My mom, like when I'd have like a bad month or something and I didn't get taken on a trip with the US team, and my mom be like, just go play for Holland. And back then I'm like, but why? And I'm like now I get it. But then I was like, but I play for the United States and we're number one in the world. So but I get you, I get her thought process, but
yeah,
it'd be different now. Now it might be a consideration, but
yeah.
Oh man. All right.
No, well, I mean, no, I'd never leave the US. No, I'm US through and through. I just said that to say that.
Well, we've literally started the show. We might as well just get it going. There's like over 50 people waiting right here. So let's do this. Here we go. Welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid, live from Hollywood, California. With me, you know her as someone bunkered in an undisclosed location, the one and only '99 World Cup winner, Angel City FC co-owner Saskia Weber. I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty glamorous though, Sus. It looks pretty glamorous right there.
I mean, it's good. It's cool. I got a couch and stuff. I'm good. I would say I'm not too far from you, Mike. I'm still in LA.
I like how you're like, I'm not too far from you. I'm not going to give away like my GPS location.
I'm still in Beverly Hills. I'll put away that.
Oh, speaking of keeping it hoity-toity and fancy, we're joined by the one and only from Arsenal Football Club, Kaylan Marckese. Kaylan, off the air, we were talking about how that's still kind of a crazy thing to hear being said for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's madness. Just walking around, seeing it everywhere, putting it on my clothes, putting it on every day. It's just it holds a lot of power. It holds a lot of weight and pride just in the name, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, just a little bit. But how are the people around town? Like at the pubs or at wherever? I love it.
I haven't been to too many pubs yet. So.
Well, I mean, isn't that like what they do in England? I'm like,
you think of like Ted Lasso, like there's an old woman behind the counter?
Yeah, exactly. Here's your Guinness or whatever.
It's been great. I mean, I think the area that the team lives in is kind of used to it, seeing us. We don't really wear the Arsenal kit, but it was like my first week here. I got coffee with some of the girls, and somebody stopped to ask for a picture while we were all sitting there outside this coffee shop in town. So just small things like that. And I haven't been out with any of the girls that just won the Euros, and I'm sure
they're still in Ibiza or something, right? Aren't they?
I mean, they're back at camp now. So
I mean, I look at the tabloids. I know.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have an amazing topic today, guys, and we're going to be talking about redirection. But kind of before we kind of get into that topic right there, Kaylan, you know, some people out there might not be familiar with kind of your journey and everything like that. Why don't you kind of explain? People are like, "There's an American at Arsenal. How'd this happen?" Like she must have come straight from the national team. And you're like, no, actually, it was a long journey. And one of the reasons we had you on is because Saskia and I have talked about the fact of there are quote unquote non-traditional, unorthodox ways to make these moves to these major clubs, and you made the move overseas to some smaller clubs.
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if anybody really knew my journey. But yeah, I mean, I started in, I guess you would say, the more traditional way. I was drafted in 2019 to, as it was then, Sky Blue FC, and it wasn't really. I wasn't in the right mental space. It wasn't the experience I was looking for, and I was just so intrigued and a little bit frustrated myself for not going with my like kind of gut instinct that I wanted to play overseas. I wanted to experience the culture of football and the style of play of football that Europe has to offer. So yeah, I went to a small club in Iceland, got shut down there during COVID in 2020. That was
I'm like,
what a year for everyone.
There's a place to be shut down.
But it was beautiful. Beautiful. And I didn't have to wear a mask until like November of 2020. So I was very physically safe and healthy, which was awesome. But then, I made a move to a really small club in Denmark that's made a name for itself. Hobie Kerr, like literally was started 4 years ago with Capelli Sport. Was able to have some success there. Get a crazy Champions League stage, group stage play, and then kind of get seen. Obviously, made this massive jump to Arsenal. So, yeah, a bit of a small stepping stones is what we called them, but very important and like wonderful places.
But Mike, that's what we've talked about. You know, being able to say, okay, I'm going to go to Iceland, whether it was Reykjavik or wherever, and I was sitting here going, does COVID like survive under a certain temperature? Maybe that's why you didn't have to wear a mask. And so I was, but that's what we talk about. Like you can sit third on a bench at that point, Sky Blue FC, or you can make that jump and say, I'm going to go play for these small clubs. Like you make the run with the Norwegian club, right? That Norwegian club into the Champions League. And now you're seen Danish. And now you're seen. And now you're playing for Arsenal. And had you stayed with Sky Blue FC, there's the big question mark.
I mean, you brought up some really valid points right there, Saskia, and this is one of the reasons why we wanted to have Kaylan on. By the way, you might want to switch your cameras because you're kind of freezing in and out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Susk. Yeah. So not you, Kaylan. You're fine. You're fine.
Oh, I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
No,
I wasn't
it's
sure who
me.
it was.
No, you're fine. But no, one of the reasons we wanted to have you on is because Saskia and I, we talked about this, I think either it was last week or the week before. And I was like, oh my gosh, we have the perfect person to have to come on to talk about this, about like grabbing those opportunities when you're getting seen. I mean, because I'll be straight up honest with you, playing in the Champions League was kind of like a scouting combine for you for these bigger clubs.
Easily. Yeah. And that was kind of what it was. It was a privilege to be playing against teams like Arsenal and Barcelona and Hoffenheim. But it was just an opportunity for myself to be, can I play at this level? And then can I show other people I can play at this level? But you're right. Like it was, do I sit behind Kaylan, Sheridan, Didi, and Herchich and just try and grow as a third goalkeeper, which of course has its benefits? Or I decided what I really needed at that moment of time in my career is like, I need playing experience. Yeah. I need to be on the field. There was only 9 spots at the time to be on the field in the NWSL, maybe a little bit more with the Olympics going on. But I was like, I need to go somewhere else. I need to be on the field, and that's where I'm going to get the best out of my experience as a footballer and where I'm going to grow my career. And then, yeah, just smart placement, and like I've got a great agent too, but we just did really well in that Danish league to get to a point where obviously anywhere in the Champions League is going to be great exposure.
I mean, go ahead, Sus.
No, and I think that, like the bottom line is, had you sat third, which, yeah, it's great training experience, but how much game experience are you getting? And when somebody's out scouting for a team and looking to bring a starting goalkeeper in and stuff, they're not going to your practice. They're not looking, they're seeing game experience, how much time you put in. They're watching games. I mean, I like watching practice footage to know the goalkeeper I'm getting and everything, but at the same time, they want that game experience under your belt. And the difference now in Europe is, and Scandinavia, is that you're playing against such high quality teams and players. Mm-hmm. And that excuse can't be made that, oh, well, she's showing great, but the quality of competition isn't that high, because quality of competition is through the roof. So now you're playing against the people that you need to be playing against, and you're showing great, and you're at Arsenal.
Yeah. And plus, Saskia, I mean, you brought up the fact, last week, I think it was when we had Kevin Hartman on from LA Galaxy, in regards to, and it's the same thing on the men's side as it is on the women's side, but especially on the women's side now, because just there's so much. It's so deep in NWSL, and there's so few spots to actually get playing time that a lot of times.
I actually feel that look at Didi. Like, look at Herchich, like having to go overseas as well to come back and now starting for Angel City. I think there is depth, but I think that teams are still looking abroad for keepers that are playing every weekend.
Yeah.
They're not looking at the bench. They're not looking at the depth of the bench with goalkeeping. They're saying who's playing at Arsenal, who's playing here. And the NWSL is not just necessarily the end goal here.
Yeah.
You stay in England.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the Euros, like the league has grown a lot in the last few years, but I think it's going to continue to grow.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've got so many internationals on our team, and you look at some of the other top teams, I think some of the teams kind of a little bit lower in the table will start to initiate some of those more overseas and international players as well, because I think they were kind of closed borders for a while. And now they're really, really growing a league, and it's inviting people to come. It's the same. All right, well, if you want to be the best, you have to have the best come to you. Yeah. And I think the NWSL in the USA has represented that for a long time, and we're starting to see a bit of a shift. And so a lot of other leagues are really growing in Europe, and they're growing fast.
So I have a question for you, Kaylan. Obviously, you just recently moved over to Arsenal, but and you've been a little bit in the training environment and everything like that. And obviously, there's Manuela there as well too that that you're working with. How is that GK union so far and that connection?
Honestly, it's been great. I haven't been able to work with her too much because time off after Euros. They're now back into camp right now. So it's been limited, but she is just such great energy. We've already chatted about how can we support each other, what kind of energy, what kind of environment do we want, working with the goalkeeper coach. Like, we want to get better, the both of us. How do we make the team better? So coming in, it's been one of the best GKUs I've been a part of, just because she has been so professional and so great about it, and she's just such a weirdo, and I really appreciate that about her. Because she's got so much energy and like fire to her that she's just wholeheartedly herself, and it allows me to do the same, and so I feel like we can just be a couple weirdos together, and the team is really supportive of the goalkeeper bond as well. So it's been great, honestly.
And only with the GK union can you say that, and we totally get it, and we're just like, that's what makes you great.
Yeah.
If I said she was normal, it would be a bad thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, what's wrong with her?
Yeah. Meet a normal goalkeeper. That's an average goalkeeper usually. That's what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that, like, if you're a goalkeeper and you're not weird, then you're probably doing something wrong, right? The best of the best are just absolutely a little bit bonkers, and I love them for it.
I am bonkers. I was a long time ago. I think I'm more normal.
Oh, you
now.
still are. You're still bonkers. You're still bonkers. Just have conversations with people. And I'm sure anybody that saw you at convention can attest for that. Kaylan, what about you? What are your weirdest idiosyncrasies?
Oh man, just small stuff. So I'm out there training myself today, and I'm sure I'll be able to see it in the film. Just like tapping the mannequin like he's my buddy, and it's like little dance moves randomly, just things that I enjoy. But I immediately went, that was a weird thing to do, but I did it, and I'll continue to do it. Just little things that I think.
Oh my god!
I think they become bigger things when I'm a little bit more comfortable around people. But yeah, I don't know, just weird energy. Say some weird things. I ask weird questions randomly. It's not random in my own head, but the words that come out, I think are random to other people. I know my train of thought, but I only said one every 10 things, and so everyone else is lost. But
I think my weird thing was I just thrived in chaos. Like, I loved it. Like, I loved running around like a chicken with my head off, and a dive over here and a dive over there, and all chaos going on in the box, and crazy shooting drills, and fly here and fly there when you're not supposed to. And I'm like, yeah! And people are like, you're nuts. You're nuts.
But I am going to say this, Usk. This is the first time I've ever heard dancing with the mannequins. Like it's an 80s romantic comedy. Like,
or you name them. We all name the mannequins.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What do you name your mannequins?
Well,
Manny, most of them.
Manny, Bob.
Manny.
Depending on it, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Consuela.
Well, let's
yeah.
Let's dig into this topic right here, because it's a good one, guys, and one of the reasons we wanted to have Kaylan on is because she's really, really great at this. Today's topic, guys, is redirection. Kaylan, in your words, what do you consider redirection of the flight of the ball?
I guess I would just consider it as I always consider it as a second resort. Honestly, I want to catch and hold absolutely anything that I can. That is, I think, one of my strong suits, but it's not realistic, and that's been hard to come to terms with. But especially as gain a level, and I'm facing shots, from Jordan Knobs who can rocket it. I'm not gonna be able to catch all of them. So instead of me dropping it in an area where it is chaotic, it is a dangerous zone, I want to put it into spots where my team can recover and, again, get a player behind the ball and, best case scenario, lead us into a counterattack.
Oh, I love what you just said there about the counterattack. Because Saskia, I think a lot of times when goalkeepers, young goalkeepers especially, when they think of redirecting the ball, they just think of making sure that it's out of danger, but not even thinking about the fact that if they redirect it into an area where it's actually going to be productive for your team, it's even better.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's certain areas you always want to redirect depending on what we're talking about, whether it's a, corner kick, whether it's a shot, whatever it is, you have to get it out of danger. But the next level is to put it onto somebody's foot and start a counterattack. That's that's a whole nother level.
But I think especially like when we're talking about like Kaylan, like with boxing, with redirecting with boxing, like I think a lot of young goalkeepers, like they just punch the ball and they're just like, well, I couldn't catch it, so I punched it. But they're not even thinking about where they're specifically playing that ball. And a lot of times it just leads to just another shot right directly back on goal.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can't really help where you're putting your redirection. A lot of the times that decision is made for you based on the flight of the ball, based on the people around you, right? If there's a ball that's over my shoulder, I can't punch it back where it came from, right? I have to continue it in the direction that it's going. That's just physically what I can do. Now I can try and do that maneuver at the best, but it's not a magic bullet situation where I can kind of have it go wherever I want it to. You have to deal with the situation at hand and physically what you're capable of. So for me, it's, you can try to make it black and white and then thrust yourself into the gray area as best you can, like right into that chaos. So, black and white, if the shot is coming towards my left, well, I can only parry it towards my left. I can't block it back the other way into the best area. So you've got, go ahead. I think it helps too, because then it's like, oh, it's not the whole pitch I can put it on. Where's the best direction that I'm headed in, and how can I maneuver that the best way? I think boxing is the easiest to kind of make a transition or a counterattack, because it's going to be hard to get enough power out of a shot to block it into the right direction. And you have to think worst case scenario, goal. So how can I not give up a goal? And then obviously last thing is, okay, now we're into the attacking side of it as well.
Yeah. Go ahead, Saskia. What were you about to say?
Oh, no, it's just, with younger goalkeepers, especially, they get in their mindset that they're going to do this before they need to make the decision, and I always like to say the little kid running around with his hands like this, trying to,
yes,
they're trying to box ball. I'm going to box the corner, and it comes right at you, and you could have just opened your hands and caught it. And this is, I think part of your strength in this is because you are going in with the mindset of, Mike, how I feel, hold the ball, catch the ball, don't give up rebounds. But through that process, you have to make that split decision. This took a different trajectory on me. Now I have to continue it on, or this is moving all over the place. It's coming at 90 miles an hour. I've got to get it out of that situation. But we find with younger goalkeepers that they've already made their mind up. And then with that, the flight of the ball doesn't warrant a box or a parry, or continue it on, and you find the ball's flubbed, it's dropped into the top of the six, like it's crazy, and you can't go in with the mindset, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. And, I love, Saskia, one of the things that you just said right there, because like, for instance, like with the young goalkeepers, for instance, Kaylan, like we just had a clip of a young goalkeeper, I think 14 years old, on the Union Sports. And it went viral, 2.5 million views, but 100,000 of those comments are, why isn't he catching the ball? Why isn't he catching the ball? Why isn't he catching the ball? And you also have to recognize that also there's a simple matter of, like, as a young goalkeeper, you're exploring and you're recognizing what is the right decision in the moment and everything like that. And as long as it's effective, and you live to see another day, you can grow from that. And then you can watch the tape and be like, oh, you know what? Maybe I could have caught that. Now I know for next time when I'm in that same picture that I can hold that ball.
Yeah, I think what, and to bring it back, if you make the decision before you know the situation, you're limiting yourself in what you can do. And I think it's so much easier to go from catch to push instead of pushed back to catch. You're way past. If you're thinking, I can't catch this, you won't catch it. But if I can think catch, and then last moment, get a little extra touch on it, then I can decide, all right, well, I tried to catch to the last moment, wasn't the right decision. Now I know. Or I tried to catch it, couldn't catch it, but I'm trying to push my boundaries in that everything I want to do, I want to be able to hold. Now, the only time I would think I'm not going to catch this is if it's raining like crazy and super windy. Then I know whether I try
every day in England, basically.
Then I'm starting to get used to it. But there were like crazy windy days that we had in Iceland. I was like, it's just going to be so difficult for me to catch this ball. I'm going to put the team in trouble. If I can come and affect it and move it in a different direction, that is probably best case scenario for the day.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you have the decision already to catch, you can almost instantaneously change that decision, but you can't go back on the decision to catch after you've already decided to push or box. I think it's way too difficult.
I agree. And I think that I would rather see in training, especially because that footage is from training. I'd rather, and I tell my goalkeepers this, I'd rather see you extend your range and try to catch that and not, and then we grow from there than automatically boxing it or parrying it. Like if your automatic instinct is to do this, but what if you try to catch? It's the same as coming for crosses. Let's extend your range. Let's work on that. Let's see what you can get under certain situations instead of saying, I can't get that. This is my decision. I'm not going past here. So in training, try to catch, try, and then see what your range is and realize I can't handle this ball. So I have to clean this up and put it out of danger. But to do the opposite, to just default into I'm just going to parry it or I'm just going to box it, you're not going to grow from there.
Yeah, and I think as a coach, it's very difficult to put like redirection, and I'll put in with that. We'll just say just with redirection, it's hard to put that as an emphasis.
Yeah.
And as the priority of the session, because then what if you have something that's well within the range to catch? Well, they're going to just parry it because
you told them to.
That's what they're supposed to do. That's what you told them to do.
Because
and then you go,
everybody's so literal.
Yeah. And so I've always struggled a lot with that in sessions, or for like, we need to work on boxing. 100% I need to work on boxing. I need to work on punching the ball out. But what if I catch that one? What if I can catch the one that you just played in? And so mentally, I think I struggle a lot when mentally things in a session aren't realistic to a game.
Right.
Because then how can I apply that into a game if I'm doing not that or something different in the session? But that's, again, the struggle of goalkeeping training, because it is so different than a game. Yeah. So I think the redirection process has to come as a sub-priority of the session, because the priority should always be catch.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be catching everything in a game. You're not going to be able to catch everything in training, but our priority is to
catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can set up your training session and you can say, listen, we're going to work on, redirecting and everything. But at the end of the day, what I always say in my training session is play the game. Like, play the game. It's the same as if you're working on like one or two touch with just your feet. It's like, don't give me a one touch pass back if you messed up the touch. Like, take a second touch. Like, be realistic about this. Don't force bad training just because I told you. Don't be so literal. Play the game. All right, we're going to work on redirecting, but if you're supposed to catch this ball because I hit the ball bad or somebody else does, they catch the ball.
And I love one of the things that you're saying right there, because like, especially Kaylan, like at the foundational ages, when you're talking about like, doing any sort of redirection activity, it's very, very difficult, because like now you're training this behavior. And so like now that neuromuscular, connection or whatever is to steer the ball. But we've just been working with handling on them, and kids are so, their minds are still growing, like they're still building, so like they don't understand context yet. And it's like, so do you think like we should not simulate redirection in a training session with the younger kids, with the little ones?
I think that's difficult to say, because I think also at younger ages, depending on how young you're talking about, it's so hard to catch the ball. It's hard enough to catch the ball standing up straight with it right at you, and then you're putting your body on the ground. You're trying to catch the ball first, then me. oh, my hips hurt, oh, my shoulder hurts, why does my knee hurt as well? So just like there's so many things going on that I think it's something to talk about, but I also think too you can't get into it too crazy because all have redirections or rebounds off of shots that I essentially have no control over because it's a straight reaction that puts it right back into a danger zone of play. And now I'm thinking, oh, that was a terrible redirection because it's stuck in my head that I should be putting it in good places all the time when that's not always possible.
Yeah.
Right. The situation calls for different things. So I think to try and put it in there, like, oh, it has to go here, has to go here. I think it's more of a, hey, you tried to catch that. You couldn't. Good for trying, because that's our priority. But did you see where that ball went? Do you think there's probably a forward coming into that space? What if you tried to put it there if you can't catch it?
Yeah.
And then them going, yeah, like, that is right. And then allowing them to think for themselves a little bit on how they can affect the game. Instead of just being like, this is what you're doing because I'm telling you to do it, and them losing kind of the autonomy of themselves, thinking about what's best in each situation. So I do think if you narrow it down too early, then you lose that problem solving bit that's all of football.
Yeah, I think that you can teach technique at a basic level. Like, this is how your energy through your body is going to go with two hands. If you can't catch the ball, follow through with one, parry it with this part of your hand. You can break it down really simplistically and teach technique on it, but it's the concept and it's situational, and you have to move the technique into situational. And if you can work on that where it's decision making, not just robotic, because it's not going to be that way. It's decision making. And you're absolutely right, Kaylan. Like, sometimes it's a reaction. It's like, hey, yeah, great. In the perfect world, you reacted, you made a great save, it bounced right back to the top of the six. Hey, Kaylan, can you put that out to the corner of the 18? Yeah, I could, but but I didn't. But the ball's on the back of the net, and at the end of the day, the ball's not on the back of the net.
Yeah.
So let's keep the bigger picture here.
But I think, one of the things, Kaylan, that you brought up, and Saskia, you brought it up as well too, is that like a lot of young goalkeepers need to understand that scanning, that moment before, is so crucial, because now when you're talking about, whether you're catching it, whether you're redirecting or whatever, if you know where the dangerous spaces are before the play, you're going to do a better job. Now, obviously, as we're talking about a point blank shot, 2 inches from you, you're just trying to save your body, but, and get as much behind it. But like, if you're talking about a little bit more distance behind the ball and an actual type of steer, if oh, there's a back post runner coming here before that ball is hit, well, I'm not going to steer it, even if that's the right decision to steer it into that area. It's going to get caught by that player right there. So you either got to get more on it, or you got to try to tip it over the bar or whatever.
I think a good example would be coming for like a corner or a cross in traffic, and making that last minute decision, depending on the flight of the ball, the pace of the ball. Like, maybe you didn't judge it right. So you're not going to get everything. And then where are you putting the ball? Like, where is that redirection coming? Like, you see a lot of kids, they go up too early with their hands. They get no power behind the ball. They drop it. It gets patted down to the top of the 18 or whatever. But I think that's probably a easier way to work on something or describe redirection than a point blank shot. Because again, it's a point blank shot.
Yeah. Well, I think what you said there too is the biggest thing about football, in my opinion, is it's decision making.
Yeah.
It's all decision making. I think when I was a bit younger, I thought a little bit too much of technical, like, let's be a robot about this. And then you come in and you're like, all right, well, now I have the technical capabilities. Let's add in the decision making. It doesn't connect the same way. You have to do it simultaneously, or even have it decision making driven. And they're like, especially with context, like you said, context is needed. And if they don't quite understand context, then it's probably more of basic foundational stuff that they're working on anyway, right? At such a young age, where you can add the decision making in, and then be like, all right, if you make that decision, how would you technically do it?
Right.
How can we technically get you to do that? If that's the decision, or those are the types of decisions that you want to make, and that's the level you're at, because obviously you can go into a lot of smaller decision making, but then you can drive the technical ability to support those decisions. And I think that is the biggest part of my game. That's the biggest thing I've worked on for the longest time is how can I make the right decisions for myself, for my team, to give me, my team confidence, to, I wouldn't say put fear into the other team, but to intimidate the other team, let them know I'm there, let them know that we mean business. The decision makings have been absolute key for any kind of success I've had.
I mean, speaking of that, I want to start getting into some of these clips right here because I want people to see kind of these pictures that we're referring to and why context is so key, like Kaylan was saying right here. First off, we're going to start right here. This is the 45th minute against Barcelona.
I mean, Kaylan, Mike is loving this.
I mean, Kaylan, did you ever think, when you were a young girl growing up in Florida, that one day you'd be playing against Barcelona?
I didn't even know where Barcelona was, probably.
So let's.
It's like Barcelona, Florida.
I thought it was next to Miami.
They speak Spanish? What's good?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, let's start with this clip right here. Basically, we'll play it through, but basically, essentially, what happens here is I think Pina dribbles from the top of the box. She cuts inside two defenders, playing a through ball to the near post to Saralgozevic, which I can never pronounce. Look at that. Kaylan recognizes the danger and redirects that ball.
That's some El Gato stuff.
Yeah, look at these reactions here. Look at this ball, but see where that ball's going, and I want to kind of walk this through with you, Kaylan, because it is about context. That ball's hit on the inside, so because you saw the picture and you knew where the danger was, you can't redirect that ball into the back post area. That's a goal if you do that.
Yeah,
it's like flop.
So let's kind of walk through this.
And truly, this is just reactional to try and get any piece of body behind it.
But I think Mike's point on this is there's a difference in reactional, like, okay, I'm just going to stick my hand out, right? So if you just stick your hand out and the ball, you're reactive in a sense of not proactive with your save, that ball could drop right into the top of the six. You have two Barcelona players right there, and that's a one touch in the goal, right? Yeah. But instead you follow through your hand. You're like regardless in your mind, split second, I got to get it out of here. And the follow through with your arm, and now it's a corner, which is great.
Yeah, I think I've been driven home that, chest forward, body weight forward.
No, your positioning is great.
And you're outside of the box,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What I loved about this was you can tell that your body weight's forward. You're standing tall. Like, you're not on your heels. You're not assuming it's going to be slotted near post. Like, you're staying big with power. And that allows you to make the save.
I was just going to say for like Negosevic, for a defender to have the type of savvy to cut that ball back inside, because I was reading near post. I was reading her slotting it near post. So
well, with a defender on her hip, you would think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But so I mean, most goalkeepers would too as well and cheat.
Yeah.
And
you know what? I don't think I had time to think.
Hey, by the way, this is like where you go to get like built up praise. So.
Yeah, thank you. I feel great about it.
We can't tell you how many times we've had somebody on and we're like, this is just high level GKIQ, and you're like, I honestly don't remember what happened. Like, I just put my hand out.
Yeah, I think what I've learned the most playing at this level in just the last 5 weeks I've been at Arsenal is when you overthink and you assume, that's when you get in trouble, because the players at this level, especially at Barcelona, are able to see what you're doing, know what it was always that reverse psychology of like, oh, I know what the striker thinks, so I'm going to do this. Well, now it's the striker knows what you think, right? And they're going to do that. And so you have to be a lot more set and balanced and reactive. There's obviously times that you have to kind of guess on a situation a little bit early. It's all about, creating better chances. But a lot of the times I personally think that setting and holding before like guessing and moving is probably going to be a higher percentage save.
Yeah, we talked about this. I always bring this up. We had Michelle Akers on the show. We took a forwards perspective and the greatest of all time. And she said that. She was like, I am looking for that lean, that split second. Yeah. I'm looking for you to keep coming. I'm trying to bait you. And she had said one of the worst things was like, I'm kind of in the mindset that you were, that I would just come up and make her beat me. I'd be like, all right, what are you going to do now? Like, I didn't bite. I didn't lean. I'm not running at you. And that's when you make the save. And I was like, I had no idea forwards thought that way. Like, I was the same way. I thought we had the one up on them, but they do.
Kaylan, I love the shift right here because like Saskia was saying, a lot of goalkeepers would try to take that fast approach here. And instead, you just shifted across so that you were in position for that separation of hers right here. So, like, a lot of goalkeepers right here would be running out at that ball. And
which
you're like, nope.
Exactly what she would want it, because she would have taken it and passed it right by you. But we've talked about the fact that if you take that split second because you have defense around and allow your defense to recover, it makes the save easier for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's definitely a time to step and put them under pressure. But again, situational context. What is it? Angle of her body kind of facing away to goal. I don't really gain anything but putting myself out of position or out of balance, out of control of myself by moving forward. So by kind of holding my shape and keeping my angles closed, I have the best chance to react instead of, I mean, I do think there's time to go out and put them under a lot of pressure and just kind of like make yourself big and go. But I think goalkeepers do that too often and just give up space in so many different areas that just forwards with high amount of quality can do.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think that had you come, I think she would have one-touched it by you. Mm-hmm. I think that had, if you would have come in that space right there, it would have been like, boom, like a quick hit or something. Yeah. But staying big, it's keeping the angles. It's great.
Before we move on, I just want to bring up something from a standpoint of, we're talking about the technical, the tactical, but I also want to talk about the psychological right here, because I like the body language afterwards, the way you just turned around like that, like it was no big deal.
Yeah, like,
I think a team like that sees a team of that world-class level that sees that goes, oh, she's serious business, and we have to play her honest. Like, we can't take her lightly,
Yeah, I think that's kind of usually how I respond. I think, honestly, I think
you're like, and next, what's next?
But Arsenal men's goalkeeper, he's got so much fire. He's barely, come out of a save before he's up and screaming at, the ref, his players. He's got so much fire, and I so much appreciate that and just don't express it myself. I am just kind of like, all right, great, I did that. We still have a game to play. We still have 45 minutes. Like, also in my own head, I'm kind of like, I do that all the time. It's kind of that I feel so confident after those ways, and I don't have to scream and show it out loud. In my head, I just go, yeah, I do that all the time. And no, that's not always the real.
Yeah, so in your men's league on the weekend, don't be like, hey, did you see that? Did you see what I did? Yeah.
I want people to know.
Let's
go. I slapping the post and all that stuff.
I think I would get a lot more fired up for a defender putting her body on the line for me.
Yeah.
I want to hype her up for that. And then I want people to jump all over me, but I don't know. I think it's just personality in some of those ways too. I do really respect that, like, outward emotion. I think that can have a lot of good energy giving properties to the team.
Yeah, but I think that in a situation like that, you're amped, it inside, but you also know you got a corner kick. So you're like, okay, that's a great save. But if we don't get this corner kick out, it's for nothing. So.
That was probably also like my 6th save of the game already. I know it's Barcelona. I'm like, we've got to stay zoned in.
Yeah. They're a very, very, very good team.
Yeah.
That's an understatement. I want to move on to this because this was your college showcase, Kaylan. Your college showcase against Arsenal right here.
Yeah.
When you were playing in the Champions League. And this is I think what happens is I think Leah Williamson, I think she plays a ball central from like 30 out. It's like a lofted ball in the box to the 6 where Miamenda or Miedema. I'm
Miedema.
so bad at these names.
Miedema.
Miedema.
Dutch.
I know, Saskia. I know. I'm aware. She's a very good player. Is in between two backs, and she flicks a header towards the post. You recognize, you keep that ball in play here, which would lead to a rebound. If you did that, like you would like we're talking about like dangerous areas, that would lead to a dangerous situation. So you redirect it out of play. I also want to show the depth drop here because I think that's really massive. So let's kind of play it all the way through and just kind of tell us what you see here. Boom. Oh, love that.
Oh, that was an exciting game. Yeah, I think you're getting goosebumps again.
Every day.
I think it's, again, recognizing I can't come for this. That's not the right decision for me. I can put myself in the best situation by backing up and giving myself time to react.
Yeah. And I think that exactly. And I think I know that's what Mike's looking at the footwork to recover negatively. And I think that, again, a lot of young goalkeepers that are watching out there and stuff like that, they get deer in headlights. They're like, okay, I can't come. And the minute you say I can't come and you're stuck is the minute this goes over your head or into the upper corner. So you have to say, I can't come. What's my next move here? And my next move is to retreat and to give yourself time to make the save, which you did. You know, we see way too many keepers that just get stuck. They're just like, and it takes a split second.
Yeah.
And I want to bring this up too in regards to that movement right there. I think a lot of young goalkeepers don't train this enough. Don't train this scenario, this picture enough where the ball is lofted, they're approaching, they get locked, and then they have to retreat.
I think that nowadays, I think a lot of goalkeeper coaches out there are starting to realize the importance of training negative movement. I know I do a lot, as much as forward movement and everything. But I agree with you, Mike. I think, coaches out there, it has to be trained. Like, it has to.
Yeah, and I would say I do a lot of negative movement, especially when I was in Denmark with this team, just in like handling situations. And it was always about trying to make it, for me at least in my head, realistic, not like already leaning backwards, kind of like, half done. It was, I'm ready for a cross, I'm in a forward weighted position, and now I'm backing in with intent and speed to then be balanced forward again.
Right.
And to be able to move that footwork in just a lot of different situations. Then you go and see a situation where it would be applied. It makes it a lot easier to do because you've done it a lot before.
Yeah, and I think it's really key what you said there is it's even when you're moving backwards, and we've talked about this, Mike, you're still in a forward weighted position. So because you had to be able to change your energy to make a save, stuff like that. If you're in a back weighted position, then you're not making the save. You're not getting any power, any movement, any lateral movement, any forward movement because you're on your heels.
Well, it's funny that you said that because I think one of the things that's, and I think it's changed a little bit, in the past few years or whatever, but I think a lot of times it's always been taught, Kaylan, like, oh, when you drop back, you always want to be at an angle. You always want to be on your side so that you can tip that ball over. But I think a lot of people are starting to recognize that, like, if you have time, square up. And that's a last resort type of a thing to be able to tip that ball over, especially with the way this ball's moving right here. I love how you're tracking this ball, and I love how keeping that positive shape allows you to redirect that ball around the post rather than spill the ball in the space, which I think a lot of goalkeepers would do there, or let it hit the post.
Yeah, I think too the idea is. Part of the idea was we need a break. Let's get this out for a corner and regroup. Which was, we just were defending a lot in the game, which was awesome for me. I got to do a lot of fun things. But it was...
There's that crazy goalkeeper.
Yeah. I loved it. It was my favorite 6 games of the year.
There you go. Look at the support of the defenders right here. Look at that. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was awesome. That was the only game that I got player of the match when I was at that club. So it was really special. It was awesome. But it is just about recognizing the players around me. And if I cannot hold the ball in a slower ball, a header is usually a lot harder to good power on to redirect because it's not just about redirecting outside of the frame of the goal in terms of lateral, but you also need distance at times because there's still a lot of forwards in that space. And so sometimes, we don't want to give up a ton of corners, but sometimes, a corner is better than goal.
Oh,
at the end of the day, a corner is way better than a goal. Honestly, I love corners too. So put that ball in the box around me. I dare you. Give you a corner to give you an easy shot at it. But it's really taking a chance. No goal, no rebound. Let's regroup.
Because I think that's a psychological thing as well too, because I'll be honest with you, this has happened to me a lot of times with my team's like, and it's like, no, you don't understand. Your ego's getting in the way here. Like, we need to take a moment here. Otherwise, we're going to give up a goal. And to recognize that with your team and say, you know what, this is the moment where we need to reset. Let's take our time, and then we can live to fight another day. I love it. I absolutely love it. That's that leadership quality of a goalkeeper, as we always talk about. I want to move on to this right here. I think this is an in-swinging situation. This is the same match, right? Right, Kaylan?
Yep.
Okay.
Same game.
So this in-swinger, the ball kind of drops his line. You kind of recognize that there's too much traffic with the defenders right here. The ball's kind of miscleared. It leads to a point-blank situation. Is this the one right here? Am I talking about here? Am I crazy? Did it just happen? Oh yeah. Yeah, it just happens very fast. So let's just start it from the corner so everyone can kind of see it here. As it comes in. See, that's world class in my opinion, because of the way you kept your shape there and you played that ball into a good area right there. I wish I had it like a more of a close up, Saskia. We need a better production crew. That's
okay.
Ken, you want to walk us through this?
Yeah, I think, and I get caught doing it, so I'm happy I made the right decision here, but always wanting to come for the ball, always wanting to come and affect the play directly, instead of making the right decision where, like you said, there's a lot of people in the box. It's not kind of the right, I can't even see how many people are in there, 7, 8 people. So I'm definitely not going to be able to catch it. But just, again, retreating to give myself the most reaction time. And like a good point you made earlier, not having like an angle, trying to be more squared on the line so I can move in each lateral direction without giving up. I think, especially with aerial balls, the space above us and around our heads is so easily left open if our body position is still on an angle. So to be able to like square off at that line and then just put myself in the best position to make a reaction save if it comes on the goal.
So I'm looking at here. So with the in-swinger here, as you come in, and then it happens so fast. It's a quick micro decision.
If you see me going like this, because I'm looking at the computer really close.
I know it's so far away. What broadcast company did this? They should have done it closer. But look at here.
But I think you're right. You're coming across, you get set really quick, and you're putting yourself in the best possible position to make any save you can. It is in really tight. But this is, again, one of those things we're talking about where it's like, get it away, but it's point blank, you know? So I'm not going to turn around as a coach and be like, hey, why don't you put that towards the top of the 18? You know?
I think it's definitely conscious awareness that I'm trying to move my reaction away from the play.
Yes, that's what I wanted to bring up, because I think that's the next level. And this is something I've tried to work on with young goalkeepers, is that when you need to affect the ball too. So if you're getting your body into it, your body shape is going to determine where that ball goes. So if you come in weak with a negative shape, then the ball's going to go negative too.
Well,
and it's going to.
I always say there's a difference between the ball hitting you or you making the save, right? So it's true. Like, did you get into a position? Are you negative and the ball hit you and it drops? Or did you come with a positive shape with your power forward so that you can affect the ball? And that's the difference between making a save or just getting hit by the ball. Because I know that sounds crappy, but it's true.
No, but that power shoulder forward in front of the post, Kaylan, allows redirects that ball
Mhm.
into this area rather than in the 6, in my opinion.
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to like I'm intending to make a save.
Yeah.
My mentality, my position, everything about what I'm trying to do in this game, in this moment, is to make a save. And I think if you're not in that mentality, it can easily kind of be this, oh, I'm getting hit, kind of. I'm not ready to make the save. I'm not at the intention level to make a save. Then I'm not in the best position and I can be going backwards or not fully prepared or not in the right position that will help lend me to put the ball in the right areas when I make a save.
Yeah. Absolutely. I want to go through one more clip if you're cool with that. I know it's starting to get late over there. Over
No, this is
what
great. What are you? We're going through
Okay.
my highlights.
Okay.
You're like,
You're big, Kaylan. You're big time now. You're at Arsenal. Like, we want to respect your time. You know. We
you're
don't
like, she's like, I'm ready to play right now.
I've got it. I don't have to be up till 7:45 tomorrow. It's good.
Ooh, all right. Okay. So let's go to Hoffenheim. Let's man,
Ooh.
talk about the teams you got to play. It's insane.
I know. I think we had the hardest group. It was like we're the last ones picked. Here's the 4 options. Which one do we want? Oh, pretty much anyone but Group B. Who do we get? Group B.
And so it was Arsenal,
But
Barcelona, and Hoffenheim.
But you had
Yeah.
a blast.
Oh my gosh. But again, that was your college showcase. That was your
Yeah.
college showcase. That was, you playing the top 3 ECNL teams, in the area. I mean, that's what this was. That's what we
I think
all.
it was a little bigger than that, but
Okay.
Yeah, it was green.
I'm trying to give context to parents out there who might not understand what I'm
No,
referring to.
Yeah. No, they're big time teams and
Yeah.
from big time leagues.
Exactly. So let's do this. This is the 14th minute. This is against Hoffenheim. I think it's a build out from the midfield to the wing, quick ball back inside. Oh no, this is a different play. My bad.
Oh,
No, this was
It's another one of those.
8 or 9 minutes. This was first 8 or 9 minutes of Champions. This was the play that in my head right after I go, all right, we're in Champions League. Like this is how the game is gonna go.
good morning.
Yeah.
I love this though. I've never really seen this quote unquote technique before, and I don't know if it's something that you've just always done or if it's something that's just instinctual for you. But this sweep across the body, it looks intentional. I'm not gonna lie, it really does to me.
I think you know what? I remember it being intentional in the moment, but I don't think I've ever practiced it, to be honest.
Okay. Well, there are going to be coaches out there who are going to be teaching this to their kids after watching this. So that's I honestly, that means me because I really like it. I don't know what it is, but it's very cool. Maybe you can put a whole course together on it, Kaylan.
I'm just thinking about what it would be called. Yeah.
The swatter, the swat across.
Oh my god.
We'll keep working on the name.
Yeah. Okay, this is the clip I wanted to go to. This is the build out from the midfield to the wing. Quick ball inside to Nicole Bia, who lays it off, and then she receives it again once there's separation. I love this touch. This touch, to me, this is what goalkeeping is all about. And when we're talking about redirection, this is class because of the way this ball is hit, the movement, again, the patience to hold as opposed to approach. And then look at the shape, which allows that little touch to just redirect it across the line like that into a good area. Up, and look at that. Ready for the cross. Look at that. I love
Always
it.
ready for the next thing.
I think
Yeah,
the key. I think the thing we keep coming back to, the key is that you're getting yourself in great positions with your body weight and set. And I think what we would see with a lot of goalkeepers is they might still be moving on this, and then it becomes they're getting beat by the pace of the ball, and it's in the back of the net. But because you're getting yourself set, weight forward, it's allowing you to put energy behind and redirect the ball.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all about like if I'm still moving forward in this situation, I can't move sideways. I can't kick my foot out. You know, if I'm already on the ground, obviously I can't move it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, this is a 1v1 situation. Obviously, from distance, a clear shot. But in a 1v1 situation, you know, I've been taught you have to be set and balanced.
Mm-hmm.
because even if this isn't a shot and it's a touch and you're still moving forward and her touch, bypasses those two defenders a little bit to the right and I'm coming forward, I'm out of position.
Absolutely.
So, and I continue to learn it on a daily basis here too, and I have to just get set faster.
Yeah, you have to give yourself the chance to make the save.
But regardless, and it's class work from them at the top of the box too. I mean, a brilliant way for them to open up the play in front of goal.
Look at that.
But here's even another thought here, really quick. Another thought, and I know, but even this is hypothetically going to another level as well. Even if she, in a split second, saw that you were set or that you weren't still coming, and she, let's say 9 is a little further up and decides to screw everybody over and slide it to your left, if you'd still be able to scramble and get there. Like, I know I'm going to a whole nother level right now, but if you're moving and you've committed and you're still moving forward, then this is a pass into the goal, or it's a pass to 9 and it's a pass into the goal, but you're still allowing yourself with your balance, with your set position to make the initial save or anything else that might happen. Didn't even think of that one, did you, Mike?
No, but I love what you're saying, because I think a lot of young goalkeepers need to hear that, Kaylan, is that like in a scenario, there are multiple outcomes, and you have to be able to be in the best position to handle all the outcomes rather than just assume one outcome in that moment.
Exactly. It's the assumption, and we're making a decision, but I can't make a decision until she's made a decision, because she has the ball, and the ball is the priority, right? So if I make the decision to go down early before she makes her decision to shoot, if she doesn't shoot, I've made the wrong decision because I've made it too early. But that I can wait and then make my decision to kick out my foot and get the reaction save and put it out is the right decision, because I was able to wait and I was in the right position and balance to do that. But you're right, if she had slipped it to 9, I hadn't made my decision to go down yet, I could then make the right decision to move across and try and put her under pressure.
Yeah.
It's all about that.
And it also takes that option away from her. It also takes that
and it puts the pressure on her, because if I make my decision too early, I make her decision so much easier.
Yeah.
But if I make her decision harder, then it gives me a better chance to make the right decision.
Right. And because the pressure from your defenders by again allowing that, now she's like, well, I have to make a decision because I have defenders coming on me.
Yeah.
And so it forces her to shoot. And she also knows she doesn't have 9. So it's great manipulation of the situation is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Also, this situation is very different.
Think about it. That's what it is.
This is a very different situation too, Kaylan, if she doesn't have immediate chase on her by defenders. If it's just her coming at you,
absolutely,
then now you have to come and approach.
Well, I think that's what makes goalkeeper sessions so difficult to make realistic, is because usually we don't have defenders to work with. We don't have attackers to work with. So you can't, sometimes we're going in a session, hey, I did this in that, like after a rep, we sit and talk about it, goalkeeper union. I did this because I assumed there would be a defender in that situation, but should we replicate it in that way? Because maybe there's not a defender, maybe there is. And so there's a lot of open communication to be like, okay, we can't replicate this. We can't make it realistic, but what would a defender probably do there?
Right.
Because a lot of my decision also depends on where the defenders are and what their decisions are. It's all instantaneous decision after decision.
And Manny doesn't and Manny doesn't move.
And
Manny doesn't move.
Manny's not helpful at all.
Come on, Manny.
Yeah.
That's why Kaylan dances with him to try to get him some movement. That's why they're dancing.
I'm trying to be friends with Manny, but they don't really help a lot.
Oh my god. That is
yeah, I think it's really difficult from a coaching perspective to try and replicate that. But it's again driving home in the best way possible, many different scenarios as much as you can get to show if you were set there, you would have had a better choice. Yeah, great, you made the save, but you would only make that save 1 out of 10 times. If you're set, maybe you make that 4 out of 10 times. Yeah, and that's a win for us sometimes. That's a big win. Yeah.
I do want to bring this up, Kaylan, as we start wrapping up and everything like that. Is it like, if you're, because I know you've had experience working with players as well too, youth players as well too. Do you still encourage, young goalkeepers to explore and be, would you rather they're more aggressive and learn when to hold as opposed to be meek and always holding position?
Oh no, I love to see goalkeepers test their range.
Oh,
at a
absolutely.
younger level. And I think I learned this in college from a good friend, one of the other goalkeepers, is fail harder, fail bigger, fail louder, because then that however big amount you fail by, if you tested your range by 50%, you have the capacity to learn 50%. If you only tested your range by 5%, you only have the capacity to learn 5%. So anytime I would work with a goalkeeper youth to a higher level, it's always, this is practice. I'm not going to make fun of you. I'm not going to yell at you. You're not losing points. I'm not going to walk out of here feeling ashamed. I'm proud of you. Make a mistake. Make many mistakes.
Yeah.
It's going to make me feel better about myself. It's going to make you feel better about yourself. Why wouldn't you try?
Yeah.
So I think it's super, you have to encourage to push, because practice is the only time that they're going to feel comfortable to do it. If they don't feel comfortable doing practice, you can't expect them to do it in games.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, and then I think that's why, Saskia, as we're wrapping this, like, why it's so important to make sure that, I don't want to use the, the hacky term of safe space, but that it is a safe space, that it's an environment where a goalkeeper feels like they don't have to perform in the environment. They are allowed to learn in the environment.
Right. And that's something that has to be, and I'll and my spiel on this, that has to be communicated between your goalkeeper coach and your head coach too, because the head coach is going to see you playing small side or playing same. What the hell is that? What the hell's Kaylan doing coming for that ball? And as a goalkeeper coach, you have to turn around and say, because she's testing her range to find her mean, to find that middle ground where that's the only way she's going to learn, right? Yeah. She's not going to play it safe. This is practice. And I asked her to do that. I asked her to try to hold that ball. She bobbled it, and try to hold it again. She bobbled it. I've asked her to do that. And you have to stand up as a goalkeeper coach and have a conversation with your head coach and do that.
I love that.
And trust me, I've gotten the looks. Like Amanda was my favorite. It would be like, and I'd be like, don't look at me. I'm like,
no, I love that. I love that. I just had a long conversation with our sports psych here about, how do I play my best? When do I play free? And when do I have the mentality and the drive that I want to? And we came down to, after like 3-hour conversation almost, was when I feel comfortable and I'm in a safe space, when I have a goalkeeper coach that fights for me, that looks out for me, that has my back. And when I feel like I can be brave enough to make mistakes without any put down, without any put back. Then I have the ability to try these new things and fail, as long as they have intent and the direction we want to go to as a team, as a group. But if I'm getting pushback and I don't feel comfortable to do these things, I'm not going to do them. And
you would have been fine under me. You
would have my back.
Even in the games, like Lauren would be shanking the ball. I'd get those glares from the end of the bench because I sit as far away as I could. And I'm like, do you think she doesn't know that she shanked the ball? Do you really want me to get up and yell at her and say, hey, you shanked the ball? Pretty sure she knows. She's looking at me right now. You're looking at me.
Why did she do that?
Why did she do that? I don't know. We don't train that.
Yeah.
We don't train the screw up. So,
But I think that's something, and again, I don't want to keep extending the conversation, but I think we are bringing up some things that I do want to bring up, Kaylan, is that, like, I think, especially at the youth level, I think a lot of times a lot of young goalkeepers see goalkeeper training as something separate from their team training when they go in with the rest of the team. Like, they see goalkeeper training as like, cool, I can make mistakes, I can do whatever here. When I go into my team training, I have to showcase how great I am so that my teammates respect me and that the coach will play me this weekend and all those sorts of things.
That comes from the top down.
Okay.
That's hard to buy into. It's easy to think that way.
Yeah, and it comes from the top down. It also comes from if your players are turning around and thinking they have the right to reprimand you. And I've always stepped up and said, hey, Jen, you missed 15 shots on net. Like, don't turn around and yell at the keeper, because she made a mistake right now. Like what are you talking about? Like you just missed an open goal. Like simply. You didn't mark up weak side, but you're yelling at the keeper. Like, come on, don't get into this with me.
Susk, my favorite thing is like you chose a very vague name so that like nobody could just like go like
I said Jen.
Which player is she referring to?
You said Manny. You said
Manny. You said Manny. She said Manny.
Yeah, I did.
Oh my gosh. Well, Kaylan, thanks for taking all the time. We'll have to definitely have you back. This is awesome. We love seeing your journey over there, and congrats on the move, and and best of luck in the WSL. I mean, we're a little partial to the NWSL here, because of a little team in Los Angeles known as Angel City, but we also we love the WSL as well too. An amazing,
yeah, but we're always
league.
goalkeeper union. So
absolutely,
no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It was a blast, a great conversation.
Well, yeah.
For sure. If anybody wants to connect with you directly, where's the best place for them to connect with you?
Yeah, probably Instagram. I do check that one pretty often. So I think it's at Kaylan Marckese, at Kaylan_Marckese. I should probably check into that a little bit more. But you know what? I am the only Kaylan Marckese in the world. I've looked it up. So
yeah, don't say it, Mike.
What?
Was our conversation was that that there is another Saskia?
Oh yeah.
There was, I think it was, but there was like 20-something years ago, and she was like a porn star. So I was like, that's me. So I was like, that's on me.
The craziest thing, though, is that like those names are usually fictional, which means that she saw you.
Oh, she made it.
Oh, yeah,
she made it up based on you.
I'm kind of flattered.
Oh my gosh, guys. Well, guys, if you have a guest suggestion or a topic suggestion, contact at insidethe18media.com or at Goalkeeper Podcast on all socials, especially on the Union Sports, guys. Make sure you're DMing us on the Union Sports. We are checking that consistently over there. If you're not on the Union yet, what are you guys doing? Come on there, engage, entertain, educate one another in the engagement forum. You got to be posting your sessions, your game clips. We've been featuring different people on our Instagram page, so it's definitely worth your time. And I'm going to throw up a quick plug right here. There you go. Look at that. And that is the one link that sends you to your Apple or Google Play or desktop, whatever it is. It's a very smart link. It's fancy technology like that. And oh my gosh. And Saskia. Follow Saskia. Obviously, they're on the Union as well, too. I think you're at Saskia Weber on the Union. Is that? Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm at Michael Magid on the Union, or again, at Goalkeeper Podcast on the Union. That is all the time on Inside the 18, and we are out. Later, guys.